Hey everybody, it's Electrolama. I'm just doing a kind of a quick stream showing off the coasters that I did. The last Rollercoaster Tycoon stream I did. Yeah, so with this park objective is to make 10 different types of roller coasters. So I challenged myself to make them all custom coasters, because that's my jam. And yeah, so I'll go through and show off each of the coasters. Alright, so let's get started. This park is, what's the name of it? Razor Rocks. I made each of the coaster names sort of rock or mineral themed, as you'll see. I need 10 different coasters, so I beat the objective and then just kind of messed around after. Alright, so this is Sapphire, and yeah, so it's a side friction wooden roller coaster. Go ahead and look at, let's see, let's pick a car that's just starting. Yep, so I usually like starting a ride with a downhill and maybe a short excursion to the lift hill. It also gives me a little more flexibility with where I place my lift hill. Alright, so there's a little initial drop and a nice big drop in the beginning. Side frictions are a little difficult because they have a lot of friction, I guess. Yep, so I have a few different layers, kind of going just basically up and down and around. I want to sort of center it on this rock here, and yeah, that shouldn't be there. Yep, so there's just kind of a slow section there is kind of the halfway point. Some fuel hills, going down and around. A few smaller hills, getting smaller each time. I made sort of the first half a little slower and the second half a little faster paced, based on the placements of my hills. That's kind of a little boring, but kind of a nice simple one. Ratings, let's see. Yep, just good enough. Alright, let's go on to this one. This one I focus a little more on theming, which I usually don't do. So the entrance is inside this temple type thing. So yeah, I named this coaster Sandstone, so I can use mostly to use this type of theming. So yeah, let's go ahead and look at one of these coasters. Yep, so the first excursion goes, it's kind of cool, it goes underneath the entrance and exit lines. And then it goes back into the temple. And then up the lift hill. Yeah, let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah, so in real life, coasters have a lot of times a small drop right after the lift hill. And this is to reduce stress on the lift chain, because otherwise you have a coaster that's dangling on that. Yep, so a nice first drop. I tried to make this pretty gentle since it's a little airtime there. Since it's a stand-up roller coaster, it's more picky about the G's. Nice indoor drop there. A little lifted turn, and a nice slope to the loop. Kind of like in Six Flags Magic Mountain. How it, like in, I forgot the name of the coaster. But it's one of the, like a really old coaster. I think it was like actually the first looping coaster in the US or something like that. And so what they did is they have a nice gentle slope into the loop. So it's kind of going for that aesthetic. Have nice, after that, even though this track doesn't technically have a helix element, I kind of made something similar around here that just completed, and then go up and through the loop. I think that actually increases excitement. Yep, going around, nice little hills. Ramping down for the finish. Going back up. Brakes before the station. And yeah, so that's a nice nice stand-up coaster that I usually don't try that much because it's usually pretty picky. You can see even though it's a simple coaster, the intensity is still very high. And I think I got lucky on the excitement. It's over a 7, which is pretty good for me. So yeah, that's Sandstone. We'll go over here to this one. So this is not running right now because I think it crashed fairly recently. Since these are all getting kind of old. Yeah, built 12 years ago. That's why. Yep, so again, first little drop, little excursion to the lift hill. Yep, nice little indoor drop. Up and around. Yep, fast bank turn there. And just kind of in and out of this rock here. Kind of sticking with the Mayan theme. And down and around. I think this was the second coaster that I built in this park. A nice little switchbacks. And then a second small lift hill just to increase the length. And generally longer coasters. Longer coasters have higher excitement rating in general. And yeah, I decided to have these two drops sort of be parallel, and actually just realized that these are both the first drops after a lift hill, so they're kind of in parallel. So I think that's kind of a cool little twist there. And then I made this a little more thematic later on. I think it looks pretty cool. It looks like some mine shaft sort of thing. I forgot the name of it. There's like, I know in mining they have kind of like an elevator, but they put it on a slant. They use to transport ore in and out of mines. So yeah, it's kind of sticking with that theme. A few hills, and then just enough speed to get back to the station. Yeah, so pretty kind of simple. The only intense parts are maybe, yeah, even the first drop there isn't very steep. A few bank turns, a nice fast bank turn in the backside there. And yeah, this is actually pretty good ratings. Higher intensity than I would have guessed. And then excitement's very good. Alright, this one was the first coaster that I built in this park, called Gabbro. It's a mini steel. Gabbro is kind of like granite, but with some green specks in it. So I was kind of just Googling different types of rocks and minerals, and wanted one that's kind of greenish and a little obscure. Alright, so excursion to the lift hill, lifting up through the rock to sort of hide that element. And with this coaster, I focused on trying to make it as intertwined as I could. So here it goes under a track, under a nice drop to, I forget what this element is called, after a drop when it just makes a big turn. Some nice curves there. Nice fast-paced hill, maybe even some airtime. Yep, just down, around, over a track, under a track, over a track, under a track, under a track, and then a nice little helix. I feel like I didn't really want to just end it here. I wanted to add some extra element before it goes back to the station. Yep, so you can see there's a lot of sort of intertwining. So I liked how this part turned out. It's nice fast pace throughout the whole track. And excitement, just barely good enough. Intensity is fine. A lot of nausea because there's a lot of turning. Ride length, 2,000 feet, about the same length as this one. A little longer. Yeah, so overall pretty good. Now this was one of the later ones. I called it Marble because I just unlocked the Roman theming. Look at this. Oh, here it goes. So nice kind of fast. I probably could have extended this more, because it actually gets pretty fast right out of the station. Sort of lift hill, kind of dug out part of the rock, just to make it look cool. It goes up and over. And a nice big drop there. Get some nice speed. Yeah, pretty standard ride. It's a nice section there. It keeps pretty good speed. Kind of a zero G section. Nice little hill. Some turns. A lot of swaying there. Yep, and then just back to the station. So this one I was concerned, like it's not very long, and I mean the speed is okay. Like this part wasn't very well planned out. It had like a banked slope, and then just kind of trying to get back to the station. I was kind of limited on space here. So this one I was surprised how high the excitement was, and that the intensity was actually pretty good. About the same as excitement, which is usually, my goal is usually to make excitement a little bit higher than intensity. So I was like, wow, this one's almost 7. I was thinking like, oh, it's probably 5 point something excitement. But yeah, this one's good. Pretty short for this type of coaster. Or not really short, just kind of normal length, I guess. And we'll go over here to this wooden coaster. This one's pretty compact, which I sometimes like to do for wooden coasters, just because it's cool going in and out of the track. So yeah, there's the lift hill, nice big drop, kind of similar to the beginning of Gabbro, and a lot of my coasters I usually have a drop, and lift, and turn, and then the rest. So it kind of goes in and out of itself. Nice big, broad bank turn, it's high speed. Yeah, this one is nice because it kind of keeps the speed throughout. Slow enough for that uphill turn. Those usually have a lot of lateral Gs. Nice little fast pace there. Yep, so it's pretty liberal on the speed that it had on a lot of these hills. Some air time on some of these. Yeah, so overall, yeah, I'm happy how this one came out. And the ratings, not ideal. Somehow, for some reason, I guess maybe the speed. Maybe this drop isn't that big, so it's probably not that. Yeah, I don't know why the intensity is so high. Excitement's pretty good. Yeah, I would personally rank this higher than what the game ranked it. Alright, we'll go over to this one. This one's I'm usually not a fan of this type of coaster. Is it Steeplechase? Is that the name of it? Single rail roller coaster. So the idea of this one, I just wanted to be pretty long, because there's not a whole lot of creativity that goes into these types of coasters. This one's very finicky when it breaks down. A lot of the trains or cars slow down and get stuck and pile up, kind of like the water slides do. Nice big. Yeah, this one I also wanted to make it pretty fast to increase the excitement. So a lot of pretty big slopes for this type of coaster. Goes around those turns pretty quick, so kept that one a large turn. So lateral Gs are pretty tricky on this one. Went underground, just get a little more speed there. Just barely went over that hump. Let's see, where are we? We're over here. Yeah, so Roadnight is a mineral that shows up with obsidian, where that's found. I went to a place in Colorado with my grandfather who's really into minerals, and we went around. There were some piles of ore that we looked through. I forget what they're mining there. I think silver. And yep, excitement, just good enough. Intensity is fine. Nausea is okay. Yep. Not much to say about it, except that little story. This was the final coaster that I built. I wanted it to be sort of a or the big one. Looks kind of crazy with all of it put together. Looks like spaghetti, but yeah, it has some cool elements to it. Called it Basalt, which is, if you've seen like Devil's Post Pile or Devil's Tower in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, that's what the kind of hexagonal rock formations. Those are made out of basalt, and basalt's usually found at bottoms of oceans. Kind of a pretty dense black mineral or stone. Yep, a nice, I think they call that a test hill. Yeah, nice, really big drop there. Because I need enough speed to go over this large half loop to a barrel roll to another half loop. I think that has some name to it. You have nice, very fast to this helix. So this section was I'm pretty proud of because you need a lot of speed to get up that. This loop going through another loop that I'll go through later. That part has a lot of lateral G's. Little brakes to control the speed over this loop, make it as slow as possible. Keep excitement up and intensity low. A barrel roll inside there. Still staying pretty fast, above 30 miles per hour. Some nice turns, sort of pacing to introduce this loop. And just kind of a break there, a little slower speed, until this half looped with a barrel roll. Yep, so it kind of winds down after this. A few little hills, bank turn, another nice. These are still pretty sizable hills, which is pretty good. And then just slow down, small excursion back to the station. And that was good timing because I think it just broke down. Yep. Yeah, so this one I'm pretty proud of. Mostly this section with the, I have to look up the name of this. The big half loop, which usually doesn't get used that much. And a nice flips back over, and then back over, and then continues a loop. Kind of like a pretzel shape. But I know there's actually another track element that's actually called the pretzel loop. Yeah, this one is Basalt. Probably the highest excitement rating I've gotten in a coaster, over 9. Alright, moving on to this suspended coaster, another pretty intense one. I built about halfway through. Called it Cinnabar, which is it's a type of rock that is usually used to mine quicksilver or mercury. Hence the gray color there. It's a nice little excursion. Yeah, this one I wanted to kind of play around with different track elements. There's a part here that that initially included, but it didn't have enough speed to go over. I was pretty proud of. Too bad that I didn't have enough space to have enough speed to go over that one section. So a nice big drop, and then this sort of boomerang shape. Pretty fast paced. Probably a lot of lateral G's there. Gentle slope to the vertical loop. And what I wanted to do is sort of a helix around this rock, but that didn't quite work out. Nice corkscrew over the station. And then finishing off with some helices. A little slower than I would want at the end, but overall pretty good. Yeah, very good excitement rating. Intensity is pretty high, which makes sense. There's a lot of elements with a lot of lateral G's, I think. Yeah, max lateral G's is over 2. Vertical G's is like 3.5. It's pretty high. Obviously a lot of nausea. This one is a mine train coaster called the Gold Nugget. And this one, there's a kind of a large rock in the middle of the park, which I wanted to kind of base my ride around. and it actually goes up to the maximum height for ground that you can have at the top of the rock. So the challenge that I made myself is I wanted to use the whole height, technically not the whole height of this because I don't go down to ground level. I wanted to go up to the very top of this rock and then basically have enough coaster to make it back to the station without going ridiculous. Just to kind of play around with different designs, try to get good ratings. Yeah, so this excursion part's pretty long and pretty fast paced, which is nice. And like a little excitement right before this long journey up to the top of the rock. So it's actually a series of lift hills and just broke down. That's too bad, this train. Yep, still going up. Up, 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 up. Let's see the height of this. Height marks on ride tracks. Yeah, this one goes up to 32. It's pretty high. But I have enough track here that friction and of the different track elements kind of slows it down. Pretty gentle initial part. Some initial speed and then a nice big drop with a bank turn. Pretty fast here. Yeah, just kind of weaving around the rock and through it. Little enclosed helix there. Surprised that it actually stayed pretty slow for this part. Kind of going in and around. I like this part here where it kind of cuts into the rock. It goes pretty fast here. Yeah, especially here it goes down even more. Goes up to 40, which actually isn't all that fast. And then pretty slow for this helix. I don't know why it made it this slow. I think because it would go into the station pretty quickly. Yep, so this is Gold Nugget. Yeah, some nice long mine train coaster that goes indoors a lot. And, or underground, I mean. And pretty good excitement, good intensity. Ideally I want excitement higher than intensity, but I think overall looks pretty. Yep, so this is my overall park. It has 10 different custom coasters, each different type. Kind of playing around with different track elements and different styles. And yeah, hopefully this was an enjoyable video to watch. Thanks for watching. Yeah, check me out on Wednesdays. I try to stream Rollercoaster Tycoon and play some other games too, so be sure to follow. And see you guys later.